Hey, you guys, how are you? Welcome to Monday Mornings Live. And we're talking about a pretty important subject today. Not that we don't always talk about important subjects, but today we're talking about false promises. And why we're talking about false promises is because we do it all the time. And then we're teaching our children to do the same. So, let's talk about the multiple false promises you can make. You can make positive false promises, ones that are good that you don't follow through with. You can make negative ones that are not so good that you don't follow through with, like in a consequence. So let's address this. And remember that once you start doing this consistently and you're not following through, your children, unfortunately, will never believe you. And they will not only never believe you, they will stop following your instructions because they know you're not going to follow through with them. You won't be able to affect them as well. You won't be able to really work with them as well because they're not taking you seriously. Pretty simple. So here's a positive uh false promise, if you want to call them false promises. When you tell your child, hey, when you get home from school today, we're going to play a game. And then you get home from school, they get home from school, and you're busy. And either you forget or you go, you know what, honey, I'm sorry. I know I promised to play a game with you today, but I've got too much on my plate. I have many clients' kids who will tell me, well, mom or dad always tell me they're going to do things and they never do. And then they count on that their whole lives. They count on you not doing what you say. You want to be the example of integrity, which means you want to be the person that says what they are going to do and then actually does it and follows through. You live by your core values. That's what integrity is. Integrity is living by your core values and doing basically what you say you're going to do. Pretty simple. So, like, if you're somewhere, you're at an event and your child's acting up, and you say to them, if you don't stop, we're leaving. Simple as that. And you have no intention of leaving. Don't threaten it because now, honestly, if they act up, you should go. But you have no intention of going. So, what are you going to do now? You said you were going to go. Well, now you're not going to be able to follow through. And because you're not going to be able to follow through with it, your child now knows that your threats are empty threats, which mean that, oh, sorry, that's my reminder to go live, which means that whatever you say, you're not going to do. So why should they listen? It's not going to matter. Nothing's ever going to happen to them. So if you say something, if you say, you know what, honey, if you guys don't calm down, we're at these people's homes. I really need you guys to calm down. If you don't, we're going to leave. Even if you leave and all sit in the car and calm it all down and have a conversation, then you can go back in. But make some kind of exit and do it immediately. Another thing that parents do is they keep repeating, which is why many of us yell. Many of us yell because we say the same thing over and over and over again. And then we never do anything about it until we yell. And then our kids know that's when they can take us seriously because we're not following through with anything. We're not following through. You need to get off your games and come to dinner. And then you go back up. You need to get off your games and come to dinner. I told you, you need to stop playing and come to dinner. Nothing's ever happening. You just keep saying it over and over and over again. So they stop listening because they know nothing's going to happen. But if you went up there and said, can you please stop playing your video games and come to dinner? And then if they don't, and you go back up there a second time, guess what you can do? You can turn off the video games. Turn them off. You asked them to stop. They didn't stop. So instead of continually asking, say, guys, time for dinner. Sorry to turn this off, but I asked you before and you didn't turn it off. So now I'm going to turn it off and you're going to go to dinner. Start following through. If you promise your kids on Saturday, guys, we're going to go to the zoo. You get them all excited about going to the zoo, and then Saturday comes along and you don't go to the zoo. Well, why are you saying you're going to do something if you're not? And you know what happens? This. You ask your child to clean up their room and they say, okay, I will. And then they don't. And you go up and yell at them when they are learning not to follow through, not to live up to what they say they're going to do from you. You are being the role model for them following through. And if you don't follow through, they won't follow through. And guys, if you have any questions about this or examples or anything you want to talk about, put in the comments, okay? And hopefully I'll see them. Anyway, and thank you for joining me, guys. If you want to, put in your name, I'll say hi to you guys. So, hi, I'm glad you're here. So this is super important. So it sounds simple, but it seems to be not such a simple thing to do. But it is something you have to understand. You say it, you have to do it. So if you don't mean it, don't say it, and then you don't have to follow through with it. I had a parent when I used to, I still have a kids fitness company, but when I used to own an actual gym location, I had a parent that threatened this child over and over again. If you don't stop crying, we're going to leave. If you don't stop crying, we're going to leave. This went on for 20 minutes. And then the child went into the bathroom. You could hear them crying. You could hear the mother threatening them. She finally stopped crying and they stayed. She should have left 18 minutes ago when she first said, if you don't stop crying, we're going to leave. Even though she never really addressed, I mean, there's more to this, but then she should have taken that child, sat in the car if she wanted to figure out what was going on with the child, which is always good. Don't be that, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about. So the whole thing about false promises is the more you do it, the more your child will realize you don't follow through with anything. The more they will separate from you. They will not stay connected because they're like, whatever you say doesn't happen. And there will be a huge disconnect between you and your child. You won't be able to offer consequences because they're never going to believe you. And then they're going to do the same thing and they're going to get yelled at when you actually taught it to them. When you follow through with what you say, when you become a person of integrity, which is probably one of the best life qualities you can have, when you become that, you teach your children to grow up with integrity. Again, integrity is stating something and following through with what you say and living by your core values. And one of your core values is probably truth and honesty. So when you follow through with what you say, that lives by truth and honesty. So simple thing to remember. If you say it, do it. Even if you say it and you're like, I shouldn't have said it was going to be, I was going to take that away for a week. I shouldn't have said that. So don't not take it away. Take it away. And then you can talk to your child and say, you know what, honey? We're going to do 24 hours. I'm sorry I said a week. I didn't mean to say a week because sometimes we say things in the heat of the moment. And if you're escalated and you're ready to yell and you're ready to spit out any fire you're ready to spit out, that's when you need to walk away and calm yourself down and look at the situation with a calm mind and approach it proactively. Decide what the best way is to resolve that. Spitting out things like, we're going to leave, we're throwing that in the garbage. All these things that we spit out at the heat of the moment, you need to walk away if you're just gonna start yelling things that are never going to be followed through with. So remember, if you say it, you have to follow through with it in some form or another, even if you adjust it a day down the road. If you say it, follow through with it. Even if you say something like, "I'm gonna throw this out if you don't stop," and they don't stop, and they keep playing, take it away. And then you can say, "You know what? I did not throw this out, but you've lost this for 48 hours." Still follow through. And if you promise them you're gonna do something with them, do it. Do it. Like, it's a great job if you're on the phone and they're bugging you, it's great to say, "Honey, I've gotta finish my phone call. After this phone call, we'll go play a game. Go pick out a game to play. And then after the phone call, go pick out a game, or after this phone call, I'll give you my undivided attention." Then after the phone call, give them your undivided attention without this in your hand. That's not helping, and that's not undivided attention. Follow through with what you say, whether it's a positive or it's a negative. If you say it, follow through with it. Okay? It seems simple. I know it's not. Not a lot of this is. But if you're about to say something that you know you are never going to follow through with, don't say it. And if you're not sure what to say, walk away, think about it, and then go back and address the issue. Okay? So, empty promises lead to children not listening, not cooperating, not believing your threats because they stop listening and cooperating because nothing ever happens to them when they don't cooperate. If you are not following through with a consequence, they will not cooperate. Okay? So I hope this helps you. Let me know if you have questions about this. And I want you to think about it. So if there is one thing that's really bugging you every day, I want you to sit and think about it. Write it down. Maybe it's, maybe they're not getting dressed in the morning. Maybe you're struggling with wake up time or go to bed time. Maybe you're fighting them on the video games. I want you to write it down and think about it. What are some things you can set up to resolve this? And one of the best things you can do if your children are a little older is sit down with them, talk about what you would need to resolve, talk about that challenge, and let them help you come up with ways to resolve it. Kids are very smart. Sometimes harder on themselves than you would ever be, so you might have to adjust the consequence. But if they come up with a great idea to resolve it, use it, put it into action, and you'll be amazed how they start cooperating with you and actually working with you to get life to be better and better. They want it too, just as much as you do. Okay, I hope this helped. Remember, don't say anything you don't mean, whether it's a good something or a negative something. If you don't mean it and you can't follow through with it, don't say it. All right, guys. So this week in the Tranquility Tribe, if you're in the inner circle, we have our group coaching Q&A Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to be in the inner circle, go to mytranquilitytribe.com and sign up today. You will get master classes, 2 coachings a month, great stuff, trainings, all kinds of things to really motivate you, create an intentional parenting system in your home today sooner than later, because your kids are getting older every day. And if you don't start doing something, taking action, things will just get worse and worse. And then you won't know what to do. All right. As always, I wish you days filled with peace, love, tons of laughter. Thank you so much for sharing part of your busy day with me. And I'll see you here next time in the Tranquility Tribe and around the web. Bye-bye, everybody.